Warning. Pregnant women, the elderly, and children under 16 should avoid prolonged exposure to Dirt Diggler. Dirt Diggler may suddenly accelerate to dangerous speeds. Dirt Diggler has high gluten content and is not kosher, halal, or vegan safe. Do not ingest Dirt Diggler, as Dirt Diggler is for external use only. Discontinue listening to Dirt Diggler if any of the following occurs: itching, vertigo, dizziness, discoloration of urine, tingling in extremities, loss of balance or coordination, slurred speech, temporary blindness, profuse sweating, heart palpitations, increased use of profanity. If listening to Dirt Diggler gives you an erection lasting longer than 4 hours, you're welcome. Listening to Dirt Diggler may lead to unplanned pregnancies. If Dirt Diggler begins to smoke, get away immediately. Seek shelter and cover head. Dirt Diggler may stick to certain types of skin. When not in use, Dirt Diggler should be returned to a special container and kept under refrigeration. The ingredients of Dirt Diggler include, but are not limited to, a glowing substance which fell to the earth, presumably from outer space, and bad memories. Do not taunt Dirt Diggler. Dirt Diggler does not come with a lifetime guarantee. Dirt Diggler. Enjoy the show.
Extra heat.
All right, what's going on is Dirt Diggler, the dirtiest Digglers ever, Diggler for Dirt Cut Diggler.
That's
and
right,
I've got
bitches.
Ken from Connecticut with me, and welcome.
Hey. It's not Connecticut anymore.
Hey, welcome to Dirt Diggler's Shitty Sports Show. I actually have Ken in the studio with me, right? So, Ken from Connecticut, who's not, like, he's from Connecticut, but he lives in Maryland now. He lives, like, right down the street. The shit is crazy. It's
Isn't
like,
it, though?
Yeah, it's just crazy. So I'm like, I just went and picked him up, and now here we are. We're going to do this show together, and it's going to be phenomenal, right? So another in-house guest. It's always a pleasure to have in-house guests here on the shittiest sports show ever. All right, so, you know, we got to be self-aware. So I guess I owe everyone an explanation as to why I was off again, right? So we're going to start off with that. Then we'll follow up with some NBA stuff and some more Tiger Woods news, and then we'll start what's going to be an annual tradition of the Why Your Division Sucks series of things. And today we'll be taking care of the AFC East, which is Kenny's division there, because he's a filthy Patriots fan, aren't you, Kenny?
You're goddamn right.
Yeah, filthy Patriots fan. All right, cool. So we'll follow that with the prerequisite beer of the week, which maybe next week we'll do like food from my childhood of the week, which is always a fun one because you get to go back and like reminisce over eating the shitty food you ate growing up because you were poor. But I guess we can do that one next week. This week we're gonna do beer, and then we'll finish it off with our shitty hot take of the week, because let's be honest, man, like shitty takes are kind of like what drives the media now. Like if you don't have a shitty take, like what really are you doing with your life?
I mean, you have to have a shitty take or else you're nothing.
Right. Like the entire sports media is predicated on shitty takes. So I feel we should contribute with like super shitty takes that are almost indefensible, because that's what ultimately people want to hear, apparently. So
Oh, I got your shitty hot take right here.
yeah, I got a shitty hot take for you, buddy. just let me get to that one right there. So, all right, let me explain while I was gone. So, we did the show, right? We did a show, me and Ken, a few weeks ago, and it was a great show, right? It was a great show. He was in the process of getting packed up to move. And then the next week, I'm like, cool, I'm going to do a show. And it didn't happen. You're like, so why did it happen? Well, Mrs. Diggler was like, dirty, you got a whole bunch of shit you got to do around the house. And so I did. And it really absorbed all my time. But it is my pleasure to do such things. And so there was no show. The next weekend, however, we had to go to Connecticut for a wedding. Now, you know what you're thinking. Did you link up with Ken from Connecticut?
No.
Negative. Ken had already fled the state of Connecticut to Maryland, I believe. But we were there for a wedding. Were you still there?
Actually, I was in California.
Whoa.
Visiting my sister for her college graduation.
Hey, congratulations on her graduating. But he was no longer in Connecticut when he was not in Connecticut when I went there.
God.
Yeah, I thought Maryland was shitty and expensive until I went to Connecticut. But I will say this about Connecticut. The roads are fucking beautiful. Like, they're paved well. Like, there was
You did
pothole.
not drive through downtown Hartford.
No, I didn't, because I don't want to go to Hartford because it's a shithole. I know that.
Yeah.
It's a shithole. The Hartford's a shithole. I'm aware. And if you're an old Whalers fan listening, I'm calling your city a shithole, because that's what it is. I mean, but that's okay. But you already know that because you're a Whalers fan. So
I know. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
You get to trade in your team colors when your team moved town into NASCAR country, so that's why I became a Bruins fan.
Are they the Preds now?
No, they're the Hurricanes.
Oh.
When they won the Stanley Cup in 06, I threatened to spit on the Stanley Cup.
Oh, boo. See, that's just being a sore sport right there. Bro.
I was a sore sport at that point.
You could always be a Browns fan and watch your team win 2 Super Bowls after they left.
Ouch.
Yeah. How about that shit? Yeah, the Ravens, the Ratbirds are the new Brown, the old Browns, and the Browns are the expansion Browns. I'll live and die by that. But so yeah, I had to do a bunch of stuff, and we had the wedding, and it was a beautiful, beautiful wedding. It was great to be part of that. You know, it was good to see someone close. You know, jump the broom and just be happy. It's always good. The whole family was there. The little Digglers were there, and the littlest Diggler got to be the flower girl. So it was excellent to be up there. It was by a lake. It was wonderful. And but that's why I was gone, right? So here we are. Right, it's been 3 weeks. It's the third week right here. Ken is in town. He lives in this area now. So I'm like, hey, let's link up. Let's go to the studio. Let's do a show. And so here we are. We're doing a show, and I'm looking forward to it. So I guess before we really kick it off, Ken, is there anything you want to add as to the time off and what you've been up to?
Yeah, well, it's been a pretty whirlwind couple of weeks for me. You know, between getting this new job here in Annapolis, moving. Packing up my life and then just moving out of state and then also flying across the country. That was a shit show in and of itself.
It always is, man.
Oh, yeah. Getting out of shitty Hartford was a shit show in and of itself because they kept delaying our flight to Philadelphia, of all.
Well, you know.
You know, we had a cross-country from Philly to San Francisco.
Were you really in a rush to get to Philly?
Yes, because we wanted to get to San Francisco and be done with it.
Fair enough.
So instead, we never did make it to Philly. We wound up going to Chicago instead.
Oh, is that O'Hare?
Yeah, we went to O'Hare, and then from there we flew to San Francisco. We got to spend the night in Chicago because of all the thunderstorm activity in Philly.
Yeah.
Precluded us from going to Philly, so they said the quickest way was to go to Chicago.
Yeah, the weather was kind of iffy.
Then I went hiking up a mountain.
Really?
Yeah, Mount Lassen in California, NorCal area.
How was that?
Thin air kicked my butt.
Really? You got up that high?
7,000 feet.
Yeah, see, I'm not doing that. It's like, it's not, I see it. Like, I used to do that shit.
My aunt really wanted to do it. They still had 10 feet of snow on the ground on that damn mountain.
So it's a little backstory here. Ken is a Marine, and he was a Marine with me in Japan, right? So the hiking of mountains and all that shit is stuff we used to do as part of our job. Now, as I said, we had to do it as part of our job. I no longer take pleasure in shit like camping, fucking hiking. These things are not fun anymore at all. Like, the only thing that I still enjoy is shooting. Everything else you could just, no, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, see, the only reason I did it is because my plane ticket was paid for by the person who was enthusiastic about camping.
Well, I guess
and by the end of that,
I guess you got to do it now.
But by the end of that, she wasn't enthusiastic about it anymore. The RV rental thing was.
Yep. See, everybody's gangster. Tell time to do gangster shit. That's
there you go.
Gangster. Tell time to do
so then we drove up to Oregon for the graduation. Then I flew back on last Sunday. Got into town. Got settled. Started my new job. Absolutely love it. Love Maryland. Love everything so far. I'm sure there will be things I hate. I see that look on your face.
It contrasts so vividly with my experience here because I absolutely fucking hate Maryland. Like, all right, Maryland has its charm. I know I shit on Maryland and Baltimore a lot. All right, but coming from North Carolina, Maryland is insanely expensive. The people fucking are rude and they suck at driving. Right, but there are some good things, and if Ken here is able to see those good things before he sees all the shit stuff, maybe to make seeing the shitty stuff a little more palatable than it was for me, you know. So if you're enjoying yourself, kudos, thumbs up. I hope you.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I think it helped a lot more in the dynamic of I came from a state that's even more expensive.
Yeah, I went to Connecticut and I was blown away by exactly how expensive shit was up there. Like, I'm over here bitching about Maryland and their taxes. Yeah, I was not prepared for the New England taxes. That shit was crazy. But I will tell you,
that's not New England. That's just Connecticut.
I heard Massachusetts has got ridiculous taxes as well.
Yeah, Massachusetts. But then you get to like Vermont, New Hampshire area, Maine, like northern New England. Yeah. It's a little less. It's a little more palatable.
Well, there's less people there, so
yeah, and they lean red.
So it's what it is. But hey, so it's great that we got through those. You know. A lot of change and a lot of activity for Ken and I in the last couple of weeks, so it's good to get back on the show. So let's kick it off with
let's do this
NBA stuff, man. NBA stuff. So I know this is old news, but it's finally over.
Oh, thank God,
it's done. It's done. The NBA is done. The Warriors took the series in 5 instead of 4 due to some interesting
shenanigans.
Shenanigans. Interesting officiating there in Cleveland in Game 4. Refs really went out of their way to give Cleveland that game, but it is what it is, and that's part of it's part of the NBA. It's a hustle, right? So we knew this was going to happen though. Like Kevin Durant, when he went to Oakland, we were like, well, they're going to fucking win a championship. What we didn't expect, what I didn't expect, was for Durant to dominate in the finals the way he did.
Lord have mercy, he was great.
Like, everyone's salty about this. And like, oh, you know, he's a bitch because he left his team to go to the team that beat his team in the playoffs. But they fail to realize exactly how important he was on this new team. I don't know that Golden State pulls off a victory in 5 games without Kevin Durant putting up 35 fucking points a game.
They only win that series in 7 if they don't have Durant.
And that's if. That's if.
Yeah.
Because LeBron's gonna put up points, right?
LeBron got his. Yeah.
LeBron's gonna get his. Kyrie's gonna show up and do his thing, right? What made Golden State a juggernaut was the role players contributing the way they did, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get your 6 hard fouls out of Zaza Pachulia, who I see leaving, by the way. I don't see him staying. They're gonna kick his ass off and pull in somebody better because he's out of all the players, he's trash. Right, but you have the role players at Golden State are exceptionally strong. Golden State's got a really good bench, which
Livingston,
is right.
Iguodala,
right?
Yeah,
right.
they're solid.
These are rock solid bench guys, and that's how the Warriors were able to kind of cruise. Because your starters having an off day, you sit them. The guy comes off the bench, he gives you 25 points. Sean Livingston gets 25 points. Iguodala hits you, 7 from of 12 from 3-point land. You know, this is the kind of stuff that they do. It's a machine.
Just not fair.
It's a machine of a team, and when you add Durant, it takes the pressure off all those other guys because, let's be real, Durant's listed as 6'8". That's bullshit. Durant is truly a 7-footer. Like, he's 6'10", and then he puts his shoes on, and he becomes a 7-footer. He said as much a couple years ago. So he's still listed as 6'8", which makes no sense. But I guess Olajuwon was listed as 7 foot when he was actually 6'10". So, like, whatever. Take the height listings as you will. Like, Iverson's not a 6-footer. He's like
5'9".
Yeah, 5'9", 5'10". I mean, it's all lies. It's fucking lies is what it is.
Shit.
Fucking liars. Anyway, so...
Yeah, Isaiah Thomas is 5'11".
Sure he is. Sure he is.
And my mother's a werewolf.
If he stands on phone books, he's 5'11". That guy. Actually, if he stands on the paperwork related to his sexual harassment charges, then he'd be 5'11".
Ouch.
Hey, look, I'm not the one out there harassing people. Hey, I'm all about gender equality. And no one deserves that kind of work environment. I've seen it. It's fucking disgusting. But let's be real. Like, Zayt, you're a piece of shit.
He is, and he's going to get a huge extension from the Celtics.
Oh, not that Isaiah Thomas. The other Isaiah Thomas.
Oh, I'm talking about IT4.
Oh, no, not the player who's somewhat loquacious and mouthy. We're talking about the one who
was the Pistons version.
Yeah, the one who ruined New York before New York ruined itself.
But no, the Dolans ruined New York.
But were the Dolans the owners when Isaiah Thomas was GM?
Yep.
Oh, makes sense. All right. So
from one day dumpster fire transition to another.
It's nice to have Carmelo there as your lead in the dumpster fire, but we'll get into
Kristaps
Bazingas. Crap snaps Berzingas. So what's interesting though is the social media saltiness based on of Kevin Durant, right? So yes, he did leave a team that wasn't going to win, and he went to a machine of a team, right? A lot of players have done this before. Few of them have made that transition and been an absolute juggernaut themselves. Most of them just they are role players at this point. But he actually took over and was the lead scorer for the Warriors. But the saltiness coming out of all these Cleveland fans, like, these guys are so salty and bitter. Oh, he's a bitch. But in the same breath, these guys are hoping for Paul George to leave the Pacers to go to Cleveland. Like, so let me get this straight. You're hoping. First of all, you're going to call this guy a bitch for doing the exact same thing you're hoping someone else does for your team. So it's not about the act of leaving a team that beat you in the playoffs. You're just mad it wasn't your team.
Another thing on that, Dirty, they're also hypocrites for the fact that they wanted Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade to do that in Cleveland in 2010.
Yeah, I mean, fucking look. I don't expect a lot of self-awareness from a lot of different fan bases, but I do have a minimum requirement in Cleveland for a team, for a city that has been in the dumps for a lot of years with your sports teams. You guys kind of lost your self-awareness with like a couple championships, like one, and you guys have totally fucking forgot where you came from. So I guess with the Brown season coming back, I better remind you of, I guess your collective place in the cosmos in this sports era. But let's be real, like, there's no guarantee LeBron's even going to be there next year. There's no guarantee. The Lakers are, it's a sexy market. It's LA. It's a sexy market. You could very well lose LeBron, and if you lose LeBron, Irving's already demanding a trade if LeBron leaves. That leaves you with Kevin Love and Tristan Thompson and J.R. Smith as your leaders. So, yeah, no, you won't see the playoffs again. If LeBron leaves, if LeBron leaves, George is going to follow. Irving's going to try to follow because LA has all kinds of capital when it comes to pursuing people. And Gilbert is already already doing that thing he did where he fucks up the team. So yeah, Dan Gilbert, he's a phenomenal owner, quote unquote. Yeah, he's going to run LeBron off again because it's got to be all about him. But so, yeah, irony is not the strongest suit in Cleveland, but it is what it is, right? So I guess the next other big news in the NBA is the Jimmy Butler trade. Chicago traded Jimmy Butler for a bag of half-eaten bag of Doritos. Yeah?
No, not to be. They didn't exactly give him away. They traded him for a couple of young pieces. Zach LaVine, who won the dunk contest in 2016. And then Chris Dunn, who was coming off a decent rookie season. He was drafted top 10 in 2016 out of Providence College.
You remember J.R. Ryder?
Yeah.
All right, Miami Heat, years ago in the 90s. J.R. Ryder he won the slam dunk contest, and it was in exceptional fashion. Everybody's like, oh my God, he's the next Jordan. J.R. Ryder was a terrible basketball player.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so I can't put too much stock in slam dunk
and
contest
I
victories.
think that the trade piece is, I'm more high on Chris Dunn than I am on Zach LaVine.
Well, we'll see what happens ultimately because...
And well, not only that, but like this deal almost happened last year between the same teams.
We shall see ultimately. It's the East. If LeBron remains in the East, it's always going to be his division, his conference. If he goes West, then it gets very interesting. I don't see any team. LeBron could go to the Timberwolves and make that team competitive. Yeah.
Timberwolves are in the Western Conference.
I'm sorry. Are they West?
Yeah, they are West.
I suck.
And then secondly, the big deal behind this is that Jimmy Butler's reunited with Tom Thibodeau, who was his coach in Chicago.
Yeah.
And they both have been dumping shade on Chicago all week.
Well, Chicago's not been run very well.
Yeah, the Reinsdorf era is, yeah.
Well, Chicago's trying to compete with New York for the worst run NBA franchise. So, I mean, It is what it is. So, all right, I guess.
It looks like a solid trade, though. And I think Minnesota, in a couple of years, could probably challenge. I mean, it's Golden State's time right now.
Golden State will have to fall apart for anyone to challenge.
Yeah, I mean, they could probably, like conference semis, conference finals.
Now, what I'll tell you is this: if a team in the West can, if the Spurs can get Griffin and Chris Paul, right? If the Spurs can support Kawhi Leonard properly, then they can retake their place on top of the West. Because the biggest problem with the Spurs is that they got old.
Yeah.
They had a good decade plus of absolute dominance in the NBA. They have 5 banners hanging up.
Basically the Patriots of the NBA without the controversy.
Yeah, with a much more loquacious coach. It's with likable personalities on the court and field. Like Tim Duncan, as boring as he was, people kind of liked him.
Yeah.
Well, Bowen was a piece of shit.
Well, I'll give you that.
And Ori, he won games the hook or crook. All right, him sending Steve Nash to the scorer's table was unnecessary. But did they win that game?
They did.
I do believe they did. So
and then not only that, he was he didn't acquire the nickname Big Shot Bob for nothing.
Yeah, Big Shot Rob. He made it happen. So it is, like I said, the Spurs are a few pieces. I see them, if they can pursue Griffin and Chris Paul in free agency, then they can become very dangerous. Are they in position to dethrone the Warriors in their current state? I'm not sure. Do their chances get much better? Yes. Their chances, the Warriors are beatable. But you got to be perfect to do it, right? And I said it in my last show, the Spurs had a chance to beat the Warriors until Kawhi Leonard. It wasn't a good chance. They were going to lose most likely, but there was a sliver of a chance. You had those players there, and you take the pressure off of just Kawhi Leonard and whatever Manu Ginobili shows up, then you said, it's good. It depletes the Clippers because they're the Clippers.
Clippers are done.
The Clippers are done, and there's Houston's not going to do anything, right? No, Houston's not going to do anything. They come close, but they're not.
Yeah, they're a solid middle of the pack team in the Western Conference.
They got blown out in 4 straight games. The only game that the Warriors lost was Game 4 in Cleveland. In the whole play, they almost ran a perfect playoff. Yeah, from start to finish. So they almost swept everybody. So I'm going not overall assessment, not how do they stack up against Golden State. Well, I mean that's the standard, right? The standard in the West right now is Golden State. The standard in the East right now is the Cavaliers. There are no teams close to where they are. There's no competition for these two teams. If whoever that championships are decided between those two. Like you said,
Yeah, nobody else is in the zip code.
Right, you said the last show that the AFC championship's going to be the Patriots, and then whoever the hell else shows up. That's how it is.
Yeah.
That's how it is in the NBA. Whoever's in the Western Conference is going to be the Warriors, and whoever else shows up, and whoever in the East is going to be Cleveland, and whoever the hell else shows up. That's what it's going to be. It's until players move, until LeBron moves. Because once LeBron moves, that team falls apart. Once LeBron moves, you got Paul George, you got
Dominoes fall everywhere.
Dominoes fall everywhere, and the East just becomes flat. Because really, the East is, once you get rid of Cleveland,
It'll be like the AFC in the 80s and 90s in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, just flat, just there. So
You just show up and get your ass kicked.
get your ass kicked by the Cowboys or the Niners or somebody.
Yeah.
And that's what the equivalent's going to be. The West is uber stacked, and it'll be interesting. But
Yeah.
so yeah, all right. So Ken, you had some thoughts about the NBA draft. You wanna share those?
All right. My first thing is, what the hell was Boston doing trading the number 1 pick within their own division?
Yeah, I appreciate that as a Sixers fan. Thanks. Good looking out, Boston.
I mean, we got another first rounder next year that could be a lottery pick if the Lakers are still terrible, because the Sixers acquired that through trade. So if it falls 2 through 5, the Celtics get it. So you have the potential that the Celtics could have the numbers 1 and 2 pick overall.
Maybe
next
that's
year.
that dice roll they're going after.
I think so. But I think they're trying to package that for a superstar. And I think that's where you got to look at it like Danny Ainge has to stop being cute. He has amassed a ton of draft capital in the next 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's
You're talking about a 53-win team.
I mean, the Celtics were a solid team. They just didn't stand a chance against the Cavs in the playoffs. They just did not have enough firepower.
You're running out of roster spots anyway. You've got 7 first-rounders in the next 3 years.
Well,
it's time to package that up and get somebody proven.
well, we'll see what happens. We'll see. As Danny Ainge has done well so far in recent history. No one saw the Celtics doing what they did last year. No one saw it, right? Like, did they earn the number 1 seed? Not necessarily, but they still would have came in within the top 3. Like, so I'm not going to sit here and say they're a shitty team. They're not a shitty team. Like,
No.
They've been perennially good for a reason.
They do benefit from being in a shitty division, though.
They do benefit from being in a shitty conference. The East totally sucks.
But let's just narrow it down to the Atlantic Division.
Oh, what is it?
Brooklyn, Knicks,
yeah.
Sixers,
Yeah, those
and
are
then
terrible
Toronto.
teams. Those are, and the Toronto, it's just they can't.
Toronto and Boston are going to finish top 2 in that division every time.
And Toronto can never really get it together.
Yeah, I mean, when DeMar DeRozan leaves, that's it for them.
Yeah, they're done. Then again, like I said, in the East, the Cavaliers are a wood chipper, and there isn't a team that's going to stand up to them in the East.
Yeah.
The East is too spread out and too thin at talent.
And luckily for the Ball family, the Sixers did not take Lonzo Ball number 1.
Thankfully because Philadelphia is not New York or L.A. Philadelphia is not L.A. Philly hates you already. Like if.
They were lobbing shade on him.
Look, if you're a Ball, right?
Yeah.
You can't go to Philly. If you do, you've got to constantly be in a goodwill tour because Philadelphia's got a very passionate fan base. All right, and it gets misconstrued as being horrible. Fun fact, right? We're just talking about this. Eagles fans are the 3rd best fan base in the NFL, right? Number 2 is the Patriots fans. So representing here, all right, fans of both of those teams. And the number 1 team, whose fans aren't even really people, are Cowboys. Cowboys are considered the best fan base in the NFL. And it really hurts my soul to say that, but they're followed by the Patriots and the Eagles. And then at the bottom, you have like the Chiefs and the Jaguars and some other folks that I don't even know, but they're at the bottom. The Chiefs surprised me to be one of the worst teams.
I know. It's such a long-standing AFL franchise carrying over into the NFL.
You know who the other 2 teams were in the top 5, though? The Giants and the Steelers.
Not surprised on that one.
Not surprised. The Steelers travel well. The Giants travel well.
Yep.
Like, those teams make sense. What's even better is that 3 of those teams are NFC East teams. Ha!
Passion.
Best fans in the NFL NFC East. Best rivalries in the NFL NFC East. Gonna say it. Hey, the numbers prove it. So, you wanna talk about free agency a little bit now?
Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to it. It's going to be an interesting little shuffle. We've touched on CP3 and Blake Griffin opting out of their deals in L.A.
Yep.
Gordon Hayward, long rumored to be attached to the Celtics due to his college coach now coaching the Celtics.
Nice.
And you got the whole Paul George saga. Will he go to L.A.? Will he not?
Yeah.
And then, also, will LeBron opt out? KD saying he's going to stay in Golden State to take less money. which will allow Golden State to keep their players.
Yeah.
Which, so I mean, there's a lot of moving parts coming up, and we are all hoping that chaos happens and Golden State falls apart, but it ain't happening, folks.
Iguodala's up for a contract, and
so is Sean Livingston.
Yeah, they've already said, I'm gonna let the people do what they got to do. So it's not like these folks aren't tenured players. They're veterans. They've made their money, and really winning a championship is most important to them. So I can honestly see players like Curry and Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant taking less money to allow those role players like Iguodala, who's still a phenomenal wing defender.
Right. And I mean, like, because you see what happens when, like, max contracts bog down your salary cap. We saw that in Miami.
Yeah.
It was Bosh, Wade, and LeBron, and then a collection of scrubs.
Right, because you can afford no one else. But what happens is, and I haven't seen something like this since, and I hate to say it, the 90s Cowboys, right? You had players like Aikman and Emmitt Smith taking less money to allow Deion Sanders to join the team.
Or, like, right now with the Patriots, Tom Brady takes less money because he makes more in endorsements.
Yeah.
And it doesn't hurt to be married to a billionaire supermodel.
Right, there's always that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, he's always taken less. He's never been the highest paid quarterback.
But you know who I saw do it first was Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan took less money initially early in his career as a Bull during the first championship runs to allow for the Scottie Pippens and the Paxsons and the Kerrs and everybody else
to get their due.
To get their due, right? Mike didn't start hammering the Bulls until toward the end.
Yeah.
Right? And they owed it to him. They're like, listen, you done brought us like 6 rings. He's like, I want $30 million a year, which was like, whoa, shit. They did the math.
That was insane money in '98.
They did the math. The guy was making like more in 10 minutes than most people see in a year. It was ridiculous. But yeah, Jordan was a very loquacious, very marketable personality, and he was able to live off of endorsement money, so he didn't have to break the team off. He understood where he was, and to him, the championships were more important, but he had that agreement like, hey, when it's time to pay me, you're going to have to pay me, and the Krause family stepped up and paid him. So, so the great ones will take less money, knowing there's money out there coming from other companies to allow to win more championships. Because ultimately, your championships is what gets you remembered, not your salary, unless you're Carmelo Anthony.
Right, but then also you're looking at like the cap's going up again this year.
Right.
Big, like it's like I think a 17% increase in the salary cap, which is going to allow for a lot more ludicrous contracts.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think Isaiah Thomas in Boston, not that one. Let's establish that one again. But IT4 is probably going to get another huge extension. And at least that's what that said to me with that trade of between the Celtics and the Sixers. Because they basically gave up the right to take Markelle Fultz.
Yeah.
Which, they already have. They've pretty much, what the Celtics were saying to me was, they have their point guard. We're good. We're good. We need a small forward. We don't want to take it with the number 1 pick. Why not flip that pick for another asset next year too?
No, it's cool. It was a good trade initially, right? It depends on ultimately. You don't know what you're getting out of college these days.
Yeah, I know, and it's the thing that bugs me though is that as a Celtics fan, hey, it's great to have all this stockpiled young talent, but having a bunch of assets is great and all, but let's start seeing some banners.
Well,
and you need a superstar for that. In this league, you definitely need a superstar or two. And right now, 7 draft picks ain't getting you a superstar.
Was Tim Duncan a superstar?
No, I'm saying the Celtics are a superstar away right now.
Well, let's talk about banners, right? So is Tim Duncan considered a superstar? I mean, he's considered the greatest power forward ever to play, right?
Right.
But would you consider him a superstar? I mean,
I would have considered an elite tier superstar in his career.
He was boring, but.
He was boring in his methodical way of getting the game done.
Right. He was not exciting to watch, but it was the most unexciting 25 points you'd ever see.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
he got the job done.
So yeah, the superstar stuff, I would say what you need more is reliability. Right? You need players that are going to be reliable, that are going to produce on a nightly basis. And that's really what sets the Warriors apart, is the fact that their players are typically reliable. As a core group, like the team itself is reliable. So for those that watched the finals, we're back to the finals, Klay Thompson was cold on offense. He provided a defensive presence, right? Now, last year, that would have doomed them because they needed his scoring. They needed Curry scoring. They absolutely needed Draymond Green to put up 20 points. With the addition of Durant, the fact that Thompson went cold he can focus on defense because he's a good wing defender as well.
Right.
And because Durant picks up the scoring slack. Oh, speaking of which, have you seen a video
of Clay Don? Oh God, yes, yes, I have.
Getting hung, rim checking himself to hell in China.
Oh God, that was great.
Oh, since we're talking about him,
it's nice to see a warrior fail at something.
God, he failed miserably. So it was like 3-4 dunks leading up, and was missing and shit. And he finally went for this 360 dunk, and he rim checked himself into oblivion. Like, he did it, and the ball hit the rim, and it started at his fingertips, and he just dissolved into a series of cubes always down to his feet. He was just dead. It was great. Like, I was sitting there, I'm like, oh my God. And it's like watching on Deadspin and shit. The shit's looped. I'm like,
I mean, seriously, that's what we like to call in the Perkins household a disaster piece.
Fucking disaster piece, man. Look, it was. I'm sure he thought it was like gonna be no big deal. How tall is Clay? He's like 6'7", isn't he?
6'8", 6'9".
Like, I don't. There's no reason to get. There's no reason to get hung or miss a dunk at that fucking high.
I know.
But it happened. Klay Thompson got destroyed by himself in China, and they laughed at him too, which is great because it means the Chinese are capable of being assholes just like we are.
It is.
Basketball is universal, and apparently so is being an asshole. So congratulations, Klay Thompson, to killing yourself.
He is
in China.
6'7".
Oh my God! Yeah, there's no excuse for that shit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you're 6'7" and you can't dunk, just stop.
Yeah, I guess. All right, so Tiger Woods, man, Tiger Woods. So all right, so I said it last show, like what was gonna happen, right? So Tiger Woods checked himself into rehab, which I guess is good, right? Except this is like public relations 101 at this point. Like, celebrities, athletes get themselves in trouble, and they're very like, oh, contrite and whatnot, and then they go to rehab and then pretend the shit all goes away. And so my issue that I'm having is this guy could legitimately have an opioid problem that he's actually getting help for, but the fact that it's looked at as that I see it as a public relations stunt is kind of sucks, right? Because that's like, I was like, oh, that's good. Then I was like, wait a minute. Like, if he hadn't gotten arrested, would he have been going to rehab? No. Like, is this damage control, or is he legitimately getting help? So now we have to watch. Maybe we don't have to, but we're going to.
I mean, it's along the same lines. If his wife hadn't bashed out the back windows of his SUV, would he have gotten sex addiction help?
Probably not. And
No.
that's an issue that Tiger's going to have to deal with. He may just have an addictive personality where these things, he may just have a tough time struggling with the loss of his mojo. But either way, I'm having a tough time seeing this as anything other than a transparent, phony attempt at trying to get back into good graces of the public.
And I don't think you're alone in that assessment. I think Tiger lost a lot of public equity with that whole scandal.
He did. Now, I don't want to, but I'm not going to lie when I'm going to say like the first thing I thought was that. So that's what I'm going off of. Like, you have that initial reaction, and that's the purest one, and then you filter that out to what's acceptable for society, right? So my first reaction is, well, that's bullshit. This is a goodwill tour. Then I go back and go, well, maybe he actually has a problem. He's getting help. Either way, I hope at the end of the day, he is good, is really what I hope. So here's to hopefully Tiger Woods getting his shit together, because he definitely
needs to get his shit together.
He needs to get his fucking shit together, right? In fact,
so it's together.
Tiger,
and if you gotta
hear
take
this,
it somewhere, take it somewhere, you know?
Right,
get your shit together.
Get your shit together.
Put it in
Tiger.
a shit
Get it
museum.
together.
I don't
So,
care what you do.
what you've all been
Just
waiting
gotta
for,
get it together.
which is great,
Get
to actually
your
have a
shit
guest,
together.
right? This is the annual tradition I'm starting up. Why Your Division Sucks. Now, I have to give credit to Drew Margery from Deadspin for doing the Why Your Team Sucks piece for like the last 8 years. I read them every fucking year. Look forward to them. They make my summer go by quicker. But this is indeed inspired, if not taken directly from his writing. So I feel like, if this shit ever comes out, like, I give him his fucking credit. Attribution is done.
You've cited your sources.
Attribution is done. All right. So Why Your Division Sucks, AFC East Edition.
Yay!
So I'm going to explain why these teams in this division fucking suck, right? So this is the worst division in football. And you're like, but dirty. The AFC South is a division. And I go, yes, it's a division of expansion teams. So they do kind of suck. Now I'll tell you what makes the AFC East.
Now you're just making excuses.
Hey, look, I'll explain to you why the AFC East sucks. Can you tell me how many years the Patriots have not won the division? Two
Since Brady became the starter.
Since Brady's became the starter. And that's where it sucks. There's no fucking parity there. Not at all. There's absolutely no parity, which makes for a shitty division. Like, the NFC East, to me, has become the picture of parity because nobody repeats as division champion. But fucking Patriots season kicks off. You're like, well, they gotta win a fucking division, eh? And they fucking win. Like, every year. D said it. D from down south was like, the Patriots game is the one where you go and you take a shit and you take your time because you know what's gonna fucking happen. That's the AFC East. AFC East fucking blows because the Patriots have, I said it last year too, have absolutely dominated that division for the last 15 years.
Yeah, the only team that's really actually challenged them in division play is Miami, and they've beaten them 11 times in 16 seasons.
And so there's your parity.
Yeah, but whereas you get to, like, you know, the Jets and Buffalo have barely broken double digits.
We'll talk about those two fucking shithouses in a second. But
Yeah, they're dumpster fires, and we know it.
Yeah, so it's stated there's only one team doing anything in that division, that is the Patriots, right?
Woohoo!
Yeah, good for you, fucking Kenny. Fans of two of the teams may be mentally challenged, and we'll go into that. But what makes it even worse is that one team is overtly tanking, and it's a good chance another will tank, but by accident, because it's the AFC East. Everybody's smarter than Belichick. Everybody's cuter. Everybody's got a great idea, and it always goes terribly wrong. So
everybody tries to out Belichick, and it blows up in their face.
Well, it happened to the Falcons.
Yeah.
Just run the fucking ball, dipshits.
Yeah, stop being aggressive and going for the throat, and just run the goddamn ball.
Run the game out, dipshits. Either way, so
I agree with you on that one. Atlanta was stupid at the end of the game.
They were. So New England sucks. The Patriots suck because despite having won 5 championships during the Brady Belichick era and having the Ginger Hammer suppress Spygate stuff and allowing their 3 initial Super Bowl wins to remain kind of untainted because no one can really know what happened, these folks still complain that the NFL's out to get them. Like, it's almost like I'm surrounded by it in Baltimore, right? Because Baltimore fans really think there's some grand conspiracy against their team despite the 2 victories they have in the Super Bowl. But Patriots fans somehow, like, make it worse because they don't realize, like, they're rolling it.
Yeah, I as a Patriots fan, I will attest there is a bit of martyrdom going on.
Yeah, it's totally fucking unnecessary. And we'll go over how to remedy that shit as it goes on. But
you'll find that concentrated mostly in the lower southeastern corner of Connecticut and into Rhode Island and then Massachusetts. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I don't want to go there. I don't want to
You don't want to go back there. You just were there.
No, Massachusetts. I don't want to go to Massachusetts at all.
Yeah, I don't like massholes either.
Connecticut's close enough to where I can skate back to Philly or Maryland.
Yeah, I mean, like, seriously, like, I'm not a big fan of Massachusetts either because they hate Connecticut people.
Yeah, what's up?
You know, like, they feel like, because Connecticut is trying to be like New York.
But it's not. I saw more Patriots jerseys down there than anything else. Like, everybody in Connecticut was a fucking Patriots fan.
You got a good split between Patriots and Giants fans.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, there's a huge... Yeah, well, those are the games we get. That's why.
Coverage dictates. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, and then every now and then you'll get that one Jets fan that's the little brother that has to mouth off.
The Giants aren't a bad fandom.
No, they're not. We already established they're a top 5 fan base.
Yeah, they are a top 5 fan. They're obnoxious, but we all are. So,
yeah, but you know what? It's like Giants fans. You know what? They're obnoxious. They talk smack to Patriots fans, but all they got to do is point to 2007 and 2011, and the Patriots fans shut their mouth.
It happens.
It happens.
So, and I made the statement in the car, right? I had to go pick up a pen, and I was like, yeah, you get 6 wins donated to this team every fucking year for your weak-ass division. To which he took issue, but let's be honest here.
5.
You're going to get 4 or 5 wins every year for the Patriots.
Miami will beat you once.
Miami might get a win. But
in Miami.
Yeah, maybe. It'll be a close one. But
depends on what time of the year the New England the game in Foxborough was played.
I guess what I'm trying to get to is the absolute lack of parity and competition in the division. New England just stomps a mud hole in everyone's asses, right?
And walks it dry.
Then you have the New England media itself, which all right, look, I'm going to defer a little bit, right? So to me, Colin Cowherd is the picturesque New England guy, even though he's not from New England. But he is somehow like a New England dick rider. But for someone who's lived in the area, I'm going to actually defer this one to Ken because Ken can tell you a lot more about how obnoxious these motherfuckers are than I can.
The Boston media in general covering the Patriots, you got your Kirk Minahan is the biggest piece of shit in the human race. Okay, you look up what he said to Aaron Andrews or about Aaron Andrews. Oh, and Jamel Hill too. He loves Jamel Hill.
Of course they do.
Well, I mean, she's an easy target.
Nah.
But then, like, Jamel Hill fired back, I hope I see you in a dark alley, you motherfucker. Basically.
Because he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, he is a piece of shit. He's a sexist, obnoxious piece of garbage. Mm-hmm. Then you get guys like Gary Tanguay who flip-flop their position depending on which one's most politically expedient.
Wow.
Deflategate is a prime example. Gary Tanguay, Glenn Ordway, all of them. Just change their minds about the role of the Patriots in Deflategate and the level of culpability as the facts came out. Like 1 minute they're vilifying the Pats because that's what everybody else with the pitchforks and the torches are doing.
And the next minute they're like, pro Pats, yeah.
Yeah, go Pats. And then they're like, but then next week they're back to, well, maybe Brady deserves to be suspended 6 games. Or, and you just make up your mind, you flip-flopping sycophants.
Yeah, well, yeah. I watched.
And their entire purpose during the rest of the year with the other teams is to drum up, self-codifying, morosity, just a doom and gloom. Oh God, this is the worst thing to ever happen to this team ever, and it was just unbearable to listen to, and I hated it.
So this may be a result of, or reason behind the obnoxious nature of the common Boston Patriots fan here, because you've enjoyed success for so long, right? Like things like a deep bomb for a first down get mild applause in the Razor. Mild applause, like things that other stadiums would lose their minds over, get mild applause in the stadium. So
no.
Green Bay is similar. Green Bay's not you're not unique in that. Green Bay's similar too.
Yeah.
Green Bay's fan base is 1,000 years old though. So the people.
Yeah, it
are
depends on the
1,000 years
opponent too. It's marginally dependent on the opponent. If it's the Jets and we're stomping their guts out, we're cheering for everything.
The thing is, right, you've been good for a while, and your fans expect you to do great things at all times, right? So when you do great things, it's not amazing anymore. It's just expected, and that's kind of dickish.
I'll say another reason that you can throw in why the fan base sucks. Look back. You remember that game where Miami unveiled the Wildcat and just absolutely stomped the Patriots? It was 2008.
That was a while ago.
Brady is out, with the ACL injury.
Castle was your quarterback?
Castle was the quarterback.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and they cannot stop the Wildcat.
No one saw that shit coming. It was
no, exactly. But you know what? The Patriots, as the seconds are ticking down towards the final gun, and they've lost 38-14. Booing. They are booing the Patriots. Their own team.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well,
it wasn't
all right.
perfect.
Well, yeah, so about the booze
It was a bad day at the office. You're going to have those once a year.
Being an Eagles fan, I don't really have a leg to stand on when it comes to booze because we are poetic with our booing.
Like Mike and Mike's touched on it. It was that's how spoiled the fan base is.
But it's one game. It's not like you're fighting for a playoff spot or you haven't been good. You've got a couple Super Bowls in the books already, and they're fucking booing you because for this one bad game. Yeah, so spoiled fan base, definitely the martyrdom that the fan base engages in, the water holding and things. I expect certain amounts, because fan is short for fanatic, so I expect a certain amount of fanaticism, but I kind of do want to engage in logical conversations with you.
Yeah.
And it's almost impossible to do with a Patriots fan. It's so difficult
I'm
to
probably
do.
the only exception you've ever met.
And you have to grow into it.
I did. Yes, you're right.
You have to fucking grow into it.
I did, yeah. I did.
It's just a pain. I've got a couple other Patriots fans. Charlie, I know you're listening. You're one of the people I can talk to, but that's 2.
Yeah, out of millions.
2 out of millions of these people.
And I'll even admit that I cannot watch games in public with other Patriots fans because they're obnoxious bastards.
Intolerable, man. God damn. Either way, so yeah.
New York.
Yeah, New York's pretty bad. But they seem to have more self-awareness. So speaking of self-awareness, you got to realize why people hate you, which is another issue I have with the Patriots. They don't understand why the world hates them. All right, so let me explain to you why the world hates you. You're the equivalent of the bad guy who honestly thinks he's the good guy and can't see why all these people don't want to be ethically cleansed. You have been involved in some very shady dealings and you've profited immensely from them. All any other fan base is asking you to do is acknowledge that they were shady and that you profited from something that is questionable, that you have no moral high ground that no one does, and to stop martyring yourself and holding the water for a franchise who doesn't give a shit about you personally.
Right.
Which is what anyone's asking for, right? So if the Eagles would have cheated their way to 3 Super Bowls, would I have cared that they fucking cheated? Nope. I would not have cared. I'd have been like, we're the bad guys. Look at the Raiders fan base. The Raiders fan base revels in how they were outcasted, aggressive, dark team that just bent and broke the rules, and they still embrace that from the 70s. Patriots fans, come on, You're the
you
bad
just
guy.
you got to embrace the fact that the Patriots act like that condescending, arrogant jerk.
Just be that team. Acknowledge it. Like,
No, I'll tell you right now. I acknowledge that as a Patriots fan, I do condescend to other teams, other teams' fans. And for those of you listening that don't know what I'm talking about, that means I talk down to people.
nice. So here's the thing, right? So Pittsburgh fans are obnoxious too, but they know it. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So I'll talk to D from down south. We did this last year, right? We did the whole, why your team sucks, Pittsburgh Steelers, and no matter what you're talking about with a Steelers fan, they will somehow find a way to mention the 6 Super Bowl wins, right? And he's like, "Yup, we will do that." Now, to me, that's self-awareness, right? You know that's what you do. Patriots fans, they seem to be oblivious to the fact that they do that, which makes it really annoying.
That's the hardest thing to get around too.
It's like, come on, just say, yes, I know this is what happened. I acknowledge it, but we still have 5 Lombardis in the trophy case.
Well, and that's what I want from Steeler fans, by the way, now that you mention it, is that their insane hatred of the New England Patriots isn't on some moral high ground or some soapbox.
No,
they're insecure and they're threatened.
Well,
they thinking we gonna get to 7 before them.
This is the same, Sam. We'll talk about the Steelers because
we're
gonna talk about them actually pretty damn soon, but we'll get to them. Let's not let this become a Steelers talk. We're shitting on the Patriots right this second. But
we shat on them pretty good.
Yeah. But I mean, so self-realization wouldn't be painful. It would help your efforts to talk to other people that weren't Patriots fans and having intelligent conversations with other fandoms. It's possible. It happens. But it's really hard to do so when you absolutely refuse to believe that anything wrong could ever happen or have been done by your team.
Tom Brady is a golden child, and we are the best franchise ever.
No, not at all. No. So, no, not at all.
I was a caricature for all you listening.
I know, which is why this is these are the other people I talk to. There's you, Charlie, and then all of them other assholes. So, all right. So let's talk about the jests.
Should I light that dumpster now or later?
FAIL, Jets. Right?
Just end the season.
Just end the season, right? So, they are liquidating any and all talent right now, a la 76ers. So I guess we should just, New York fans, Jets fans, all 3 of you, trust the process, right? I guess you got to trust the process.
Bolton, if you're listening, we feel sorry for David. That poor guy.
That sucks, bro. But
and I also feel sorry for Todd Bowles for having to suffer through that.
Todd Bowles is a good guy.
He's a great coach,
and he's gonna get shit canned because they're liquidating the roster right under him, and he's gonna have no talent, and they're
1-15.
I don't think I've ever seen a football team overtly tank. I've seen terrible things happen. Like what happened to San Francisco was terrible. You had all these players leave and retire, and your owner is an idiot and sent your coach away. Those are all terrible things. But they go, you know what? We're going to take and ensure we get the first pick in the next draft. I've never seen it done so brazenly in my life in the NFL. No, I've seen
Indianapolis
for
luck.
They didn't purposely tank.
They sucked for luck.
They just sucked.
They tanked for luck.
And it became a thing toward the end, this is hopeless. I guess we should just suck for luck. But the Jets are foregoing the 10 weeks leading up to that and just starting off tanking.
Yeah.
So all right, so let's go over their quarterback drafting history, which is ass. But what about Joe Namath? Joe Namath, yes, he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. Have you seen his stats? He's terrible.
He was a game manager.
He's a game manager. If he hadn't been such a shit talker, he wouldn't have been in the Hall of Fame. Period. His guarantee of a Super Bowl is what got him there. That's to be honest, because his body of work is trash. But in keeping that tradition, you got 2 piles of sentient hamburger meat and ooh man, who's this guy? Josh fucking McCown as your quarterback. So
you're going with a 37-year-old journeyman who's never been good enough to be a starter full-time anywhere.
Oh, and Brandon Marshall's gone. He was part of that liquidation. He's in New York. Yep. He's in the Giants uniform now, so
sorry.
Yeah.
But
you got rid of Fitzgerald, so good for you.
The defense improved immensely just by drafting Jamal Adams from LSU. Was it Ohio State or LSU?
There's 2 safeties that they drafted because apparently
the number 6 overall pick was raved about.
They drafted 2 safeties back. No.
But the first one that they drafted was basically he's going to be the captain of the defense from day one.
We shall see. He's a rookie.
Yeah, I mean when you're relying on a rookie, no matter how transcendent talent may be, to be the captain of your defense, how bad you gonna be?
Well, let's go over how safeties that could run a defense, right? So let's start from way back in the day, right? You have your Ronnie Lotts, right? Ronnie Lott, and then you have Rod Woodson, who's actually a cornerback converted to safety. He can run your defense. Brian Dawkins, right? Ed Reed, they can run your defense. Maybe Steve Atwater, maybe.
The smiling assassin.
But you don't want a safety doing that typically, especially a rookie. So
No.
the Jets, you're gonna fucking suck pretty hard this year. So in your market, of which there are several teams, you're probably the sixth most important team, really. So behind the Yankees, Giants, Rangers, Islanders, and Knicks, there's you, but you're probably still more loved than the Nets and the Mets.
No, I will challenge that. I think they're loved more than the Islanders.
You think they're loved more than Islanders?
Dude, the Islanders can't make up where they're going to play next season.
Yeah, but that's the New York thing. Like,
Yeah.
that's the New York thing. Like, New York's always going to be a real estate issue.
Yeah,
for any
and
team.
the only reason they're down on the Mets right now is because it's just looking like there's going to be a fire sale this summer and all their talent's going to be traded.
You're one of two front football. Football runs the country. You're
Yeah.
in a giant market, and you're like the sixth most important team in your market.
That is pretty pathetic.
That's
though.
pretty fucking pathetic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good job, Jets. So,
Yeah, they've got an LA level of attention.
oh, by the way, your GM, I believe, is a Magic 8-Ball with a slow leak. So, I'll be having fun with that. So, let's talk about why Miami sucks. Because the Dolphins, all right, first of all, I hate their colors. Second, I hate their logo, right? I like the old Dolphin logo, which was stupid, but it was like charmingly stupid. This is like new age hipster stupid. I don't like the logo. They want to change it back, apparently.
What was the problem with leaving well enough alone with that?
Because you got to change. Because why not, right? I mean, how many logos did you guys go through? Like there was the
Pat Patriot.
the ugly monster guy you had on your helmet, and then there was the this one here. No, you had another one before that. In the early 2000s, didn't you have a different uniform? I know that.
Oh yeah, no, we went from the red and white,
Yeah,
catastrophes
those
to the
were-
rugby jerseys in the 90s.
Yeah, those were weird. But
Those were weird, and then they went to the current format,
Right.
which with little variations here and there.
yeah. But you had
But the Flying Elvi has been around since 1993
Flying Elvi, right?
because it looks like an Elvis.
It does. It's pretty terrible. Either way, so but the Dolphins logo is like I don't look at their uniforms and there's no fear. It's kind of like, oh, that's cute. And that's really there's no like, oh, that's like the Raiders, black and silver, oh, intimidating. The Panthers, silver, blue, oh, kind of intimidating. You don't like their colors are like they might as well do them in pastel.
Like powder blue Charger uniforms.
Yeah, not intimidating.
Not intimidating at all.
Not scared. So Ryan Tannehill is
Enjoy your practice squad paycheck!
getting paid like an elite quarterback, never having actually played like an elite quarterback. So this is a big year for him because he's going to suck. But is he going to suck hard enough to force them to go away from him, or is he going to suck just enough to make them kind of give him an extension? So Tannehill is a reason you kind of suck because he's a douche, bro, and he's overpaid.
But he's also a part of this wave of quarterbacks that are mediocre talent levels getting big deals because quarterback is the hardest position to fill in the NFL.
Apparently so, but I don't know if Tannehill.
I mean, like, if Tannehill and Andy Dalton can get $96 million extensions, there's something wrong with the way the quarterbacks are paid.
Yeah. Andy
Yeah,
Dalton sucks.
it's a part of the process.
The problem with Andy Dalton is he's got skin's too pale. He burns in the lights of prime time, so that's his problem. Right. So, but there's no excuse for Tannehill. He lives in Miami. It's like, so why do you suck so fucking bad? But yeah, anyway.
Andy's got a gorgeous supermodel wife.
Yeah, but he's still a douche. So
Total
douche. Then you have Ndamukong Suh, who's
Oh.
no. Listen, like Ndamukong Suh is a beast
Yeah.
of a player. The problem is he's always like half a thought process from committing an actual felony, which
Yes.
is like 20, 30 years ago, fucking great.
He'd have
However,
blended in great in the 70s and 80s.
yeah, like I
when
could've
Dick
seen him.
Night Train Lane was clotheslining guys in the 60s, he'd have been perfect.
When clothesline tackles and headshots were all the rage, Ndamukong Suh would have fit right in, right? When
Player born in the wrong era.
when literally kicking someone in the dick was okay, and Ndamukong Suh would have excelled in that era. But the problem I have with him and why he sucks is, one, he's soaking up a shit ton of your cap space, but two, he's always flirting with a suspension. So if you lose him, what happens to your defense? Because really, your defense is predicated on Ndamukong Suh making shit happen that other players can't.
Right.
Bottom line, I've seen him chase down.
Cameron Wake can't do it all by himself.
Cameron Wake can't do it all by himself. In fact, if you lose Sue, Wake becomes a non-factor because now he gets double teamed.
Right.
So
And not only that, but like as was the case when Joe Philbin got fired a couple of years ago.
He got fired because he was running a shitty.
Well, yeah,
show.
but no, like also, or was it no? Yeah, but Sue was freestyling on the field.
He just did whatever.
He didn't go with the plays that were called.
You know, Sue is like his paycheck. It
Entitles him.
It validated his dickish behavior.
Yes.
Right. So he knows he's the man, and he's bottom line is Sue's a monster, not a team player.
No.
And I really don't like. I don't go out. I don't really say that a lot, right? But Sue truly doesn't give a fuck. Like he's gonna
He
go out
is
there and do
all
what he's gonna
about
do.
Indomitian Sue.
He's
and
really all
that's
about
it.
Dominic Sue, and I guess we have to appreciate that because he does good things. But that's the kind of shit you got to deal with in Miami. So
Yeah.
congrats. Also, despite having an immensely talented roster with the likes of Jarvis Landry and all these other, and Ajay, what's his name?
Ajayi.
Yeah, Ajayi, that guy, and all these players, they're probably gonna. I think they're gonna get swept by the Pats this year.
I think so too, if only because it was Landry that was bragging, "Oh, we're going to sweep the Pets." You just gave them bulletin board material.
Why would anyone say some shit like that? Like, all right, here's my thing, right?
Normally they get one.
I've played football. I've played sports. Talking shit about what you're gonna do prior to the game, I don't advise it. Right?
No.
Talking shit during the game, still don't advise it. Talking shit after it's all said and done, I mean, I guess if you want to, I don't see the point in it. Like, you got a team that has owned your division for 13 out of 15 years, and you're gonna run your jibs about how you're gonna sweep them when you've never swept them. So stop. I appreciate you trying to get your guys going. You're getting their guys going. Don't do it. Like, they know,
Yeah,
the
in
Patriots know who they are.
The Brady and Belichick era, when guys do that, they design plays specifically to embarrass said player.
Yeah, that's not okay. But
Yeah.
yeah, I totally get it. Like,
Yeah, okay, you want to talk? Well, here you go. Here's your spotlight. Defend it.
You're playing with the bear wearing steak underwear. Like, stop.
Yeah.
Stop. Just Jarvis
Dog
Landry.
eat dog, right? And then he's wearing bacon underpants.
Right, and so you're not Odell Beckham. You're
Nope.
his like sidekick. And while you're good, you're not Odell Beckham level. Oh, my dogs have joined us. I wonder if they have any take on this.
Yeah, well, they heard dog eat dog.
That's what they did. That's what they came through.
Yeah.
Either way, so
My fault.
that's what it is, man. So yeah, the Dolphins, they're just a team that can never. They always look good on paper, and they never translate it to the field in any consistent fashion.
And even that wild card berth last year was a result of just playing a terrible schedule.
And you know what? It was a wasted spot, and everybody knew, including the Dolphins. Like, everybody knew that, like, they wasted a playoff spot. But you know, you take what you get, I guess.
Yeah.
It's good to have gotten back to the playoffs for Miami. But I mean, bottom line is everybody knew they wasted.
I mean,
a
who
spot.
would you swap out in that? Probably,
Everybody else was trash as well.
maybe Denver. I would have swapped out Denver in that spot. It would have been a tougher matchup for Pittsburgh in the first round.
Agreed. Denver secondary is top notch.
Denver's defense is great, but their quarterback position is.
We'll see what Paxton Lynch does. We'll talk about them going forward.
Oh
When I
yeah,
do
we
the,
got to get to the AFC West
AFC
eventually.
West. So let's talk about what the Buffalo Bills suck. So, so the Bills, right? So the Bills. This is the team that may accidentally tank, but
Boy, I love losing everything.
yeah. So they just fired the whole front office, and I'm not sure who the quarterback is, but it doesn't matter because they haven't had one since Jim Kelly hung it up. So
Oh, come on, you don't remember the Flutie Flakes here?
lame. But I do.
I
remember-
know.
I heard about him.
Flutie and Rob Johnson were responsible for the last playoff berth.
You know, I actually like Doug Flutie. I
do
like
too.
him. But the bottom line is, like, who knows about him? Like,
he
no.
had that one great year, yeah.
Yeah, and then, all right, so the most exciting part of this team, honestly, is the fans, right? So the fans,
Oh God,
the fans are either great or suck, depending on what you consider great and sucking, right? So if you're talking about, like, these are fans that engage in active drug use. Like, I'm not talking about, like, we're going to maybe smoke a J. No, these guys are snorting coke off the benches and possibly shooting heroin. They're banging each other out. They're having sex. Like, there's a couple pictures. If you type in, like, Bills fans, you see all kinds of shit where a dude has his hands, like, completely in this woman's pants. It's like, wow, this is in the stadium. This is in the stadium during the game around other people. So Bills fans apparently party hard in the stadium. So let's go out to the parking lot. Oh my God, you got people jumping through flaming tables.
I mean, God.
You have the Dizzy Izzy of Doom where they're like, I don't know how the city functions. I assume the entire city reeks of stale beer because of how the whole thing goes down. Like this is the most drunken. Like if you could take imagine a juggalo and just make that an entire population of people, like a city of juggalos,
Buffaloes.
Buffalo Juggalos, right? All at the stadium, and I don't know if I'm at the point in my life where I could party with Buffalo fans. I might die.
I don't know if I can do it either.
Like, you rewind time and jump in a Wayback Machine when I'm in my 20s, maybe I can hang with my liver.
Please, us in our Okie days, we're down with that.
I trained a lot with the boozing out there, but still, like, oh my God,
it wasn't just the boozing; it was the party level.
There's a documentary coming out on Bills fans because they're so amazing as a fan base. Like, amazing is both a good and a bad thing. Like,
yeah,
that's amazing.
Can you believe this shit?
I can't believe this guy literally set his ass. Like, there's a picture of a dude shotgunning vodka from a woman's ass crack. Which
what?
Like, is
this college? Are we
like
21?
A handle of like Smirnoff, the red label, and he's just like shotgunning it from this woman's ass. Like, I don't think I've ever partied this hard. Like, I can say in all faith and honesty, I've never shotgunned an alcoholic beverage from a woman's ass crack in a parking lot of a football stadium.
It sounds like they're about a burning couch away from a Yukon National Championship celebration, but okay.
I would agree with you, but but really, what takes my goat the most with the Bills was someone threw a fake dildo onto the field during the Patriots game last year.
Oh God!
Like, it just came out of, like, you just see this like pink thing flip onto the field, flip, boom, and it lands like right on like the 2-yard line.
Yeah.
During the play, right? But here's the thing: it wasn't like a real dildo; it was like a fake toy dildo. It had like a face on it and little arms and shit. All right, and then somebody had wrote like Tom Brady's dildo, and it was hilarious. Like, it's very immature of me to have enjoyed this, but I enjoyed the show.
It was a welcome back Brady.
It was funny because it was his first game back.
No, it wasn't his first game back, but it was his first game in
Buffalo, right? So they throw this dildo onto the field. The refs are like, "What the fuck do I do with this?" Like,
pretty much.
They're like, they kick it off the field. They literally kick it off the field, and this grand search begins to find out who threw the dildo, right? So they get to the tapes and they figure out who done it. And instead of giving this person a job in the front office, which they deserved,
like, come on, how could you not?
Come on, man, they ban him from the stadium forever. Which, come on, man, you're not that.
Maybe
good
that
of a
was
team
for
to be
his
doing
own
that kind of
good.
shit. Maybe look.
I mean, given the antics and shenanigans we have gone through in the last minute,
let's go over the logistics of getting the idea of, dude, I'm gonna bring a dildo to throw on the field. Buying said name dildo with face on it, writing on it in Sharpie, Tom Brady's dildo, being in position, and then making the throw itself to get the dildo on the field during a play. A pile of players is within 2 yards of this dildo. It's hilarious.
I know.
Fucking hilarious. So this guy's obviously got planning skills, right? Got planning skills. You should bring him on because he's got to do better than Doug Whaley did.
Oh, that's another thing in and of itself for me was the detached ownership, like just allowing a new coach to basically just seize control.
Yeah, the Pagulas did not set any standard. They're pretty much letting whoever they bring in do whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
So there's no consistency in doing
and it's not a knock against Sean McDermott. If the opportunity's there, take it.
Yeah, so for those who don't remember, McDermott was in Philly. He was an assistant DC under Jim Johnson. And he was Jim Johnson's understudy, right? But Jim Johnson, had cancer and he passed. And this is the beginning of the end for Andy Reid, was when Jim Johnson passed, because he threw his entire staff into disarray. So now you thrust McDermott into this role that he's not really suited for. He's too young, and he tries to be the best Jim Johnson he can be, but he can't. Right? So they underperform, and they punt him, and now Juan Castillo is like the DC. It's a big mess.
Yeah.
But McDermott ends up going to Charlotte. He ends up going to Carolina, and he runs that defense and does well, and he earns himself a spot as the head coach in Buffalo. But it took 10 years to do that.
Yeah.
So it could suck. It could suck with McDermott.
Well, I mean,
could not. Bottom line is, he doesn't have a lot. He has a lot, but not a lot to work with.
I mean, the last power grab we saw like this in the NFL was in Philadelphia when Chip Kelly came on board. You mentioned that earlier.
Maybe they should give the dildo play calling abilities.
Maybe.
Maybe.
It's gonna. I as a Patriots fan, I want a challenge from other teams in the
And
division.
as a fan of other teams, I would like to see that happen because I'm so
I mean, if
tired
there's
of
any
seeing your
team in the division I want to see come back to a level of respectability,
Bills.
it's the Bills.
The Bills.
They haven't made the playoffs since 1999.
You know, honestly, I think that fan base deserves it, though.
They do deserve it.
They do deserve
If
it.
you lose 4 Super Bowls in a row and you still maintain your loyalty to that franchise, God bless you. You deserve some joy in your life. And I really want to see the Bill fans get it.
They get their joy in the parking lot and in the stadium.
Well,
They're
they have to cope with losing 4 Super Bowls in a row that way.
snorting coke and banging each other publicly.
Well, I mean, you look at the checkered past.
It takes all kinds. All right, but
Yeah.
it takes all kinds. But I do believe that if you've been in that stadium, you probably can't pass a background check. So,
All right.
so let's go over why
that brings
there is
us
hope.
Yeah.
Hey, look, where there's hate, there's hope. Right? Where I say it last year, I say it again this year. Where there is hate, there is hope. So let's go over. Right, New England is just coming off a Super Bowl victory and secured a majority of its important pieces. They are still the class of the fucking AFC, and they look to be in position to make another run. Right?
Position to make another run. They went all in on 2017.
They are committed. They went and got
Brandon Cooks
Brandon
from the Saints.
Cooks from the Saints. I hate the Saints for doing that. Oh, I hate the Saints for letting that
They
happen.
also got Coney Ely from the Panthers.
Why? See, this is shit I don't like. But
Yeah, I mean, it got so bad that Ryan Clark went on ESPN and just looked in the camera and said, "Look, any team out there that's thinking of trading a marginally decent player to the Patriots, don't. I will stop being a fan of the NFL if you do this. This is not fair. If you've got people in the media bitching that much, you probably are
he
looking
had
at
a
the
good
dominant
point, though.
season."
He had a good point. Like,
Yes.
why are you giving this team so many more weapons when they've proven to make do with, like,
They could make chicken salad out of chicken shit. Why are you giving them, filet mignon?
so, look, anything can happen, but New England...
So that's their hope right
Hope
there.
lives in New England right now. So
Hope
Miami
runs, though.
Miami has a ton of talent still, right? And they did make the playoffs last year, regardless of them wasting it. So you haven't stepped back from that. So Miami, if Tannehill shows up for you this year, you guys can make some noise and actually win a playoff game. So
Yeah.
if you're a Miami Dolphins fan, you can have some hope. I give you permission to have a sliver of hope. You still lose the division, but you'll take a wild card.
Yeah, but 10-6. You're going to be back in the playoffs.
You still take a wild card. You just won't take the division. So the Bills, so that front office shakeup might be what the doctor ordered, right? So
Getting Rex Ryan out of town was exactly what was needed.
yeah, when they're not out there causing him and his brothers starting bar fights in New Orleans.
Oh God.
I think I don't even know what kicked that off. They might have groped somebody, but
Maybe their bellies ran into somebody.
no. Remember, Rex lost a bunch of weight.
Yeah, Rob's still kind of chubby. Though.
Yeah. So either way, so Buffalo, maybe this change was good for them, right? Maybe bringing in McDermott is going to be what gets them over the hump and gets them back into relevance, which would be good because I would like to see with a fan base that entertaining. I want to
Yes.
see what happens when they start winning.
Same here.
I want to see what happens when they start winning. So, but if you're a Jets fan, abandon hope because your team already has because they're tanking. Right, so normally I have something nice to say. There's nothing nice to say.
No.
You got 3 shit piles at quarterback. Your team's actively tanking, liquidating. I guess the hope would be that maybe not this year, but 2 years from now, you may have drafted and developed enough talent to win double-digit games, and maybe 5 years from now, you could be in a playoff hunt if you maintain course.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the hope.
But there's also you say that whole there's hope. But in 2017, I wish you all the misery in the world.
Well,
New York.
if you're a Jets fan, you're gonna get it but you should be used to it because that's what you have always had.
Yeah.
The
Jets have only won 4 division titles ever
that sucks.
in 50 years plus.
That sucks.
4 ever.
That sucks. So yeah, that absolutely sucks. So I guess we are done talking about why the AFC East sucks. Now, hey, look, listeners, if I or Ken have missed why one of these teams sucks, go ahead and send me an email to dirtdiggler2023@gmail.com or hit me up on the Facebook page, Dirt Diggler Shitty Sports Show, and I'll be sure to include it in the show going, hey, look, apparently last week we missed why this team sucks, but let me add it to this one, boom, and then before we go on to the next one, which the next one is going to be why the NFC East sucks.
Oh boy.
Yo, that's my division. It's gonna be game on, buddy. Game on, fucker. So, so all right, let's transition it into the beer of the week. We have with us this
Flying Dog Summer Rental. It's ale brewed with grapefruit and passion fruit flavor, and it's quite tasty.
It is, right? So hold on. This is what we do here. Is this refreshing enough to drink during a game?
Yes.
Yes, it is. This is a good summer beer. It's clean tasting. It's not overly strong, right? So it's not what I normally would drink when I'm drinking beer flavored diesel fuel, but it is more appropriate for the weather and that we're in right now, the season, right? It's a lighter beer. It doesn't sit on the palate too much. I could drink a shit ton of these during the game, right? So, and that's what you want, right? You want drinkability, right? Drinkability. It's got like 4.5% alcohol. It's a local Maryland brewery, right? Flying Dog is a Maryland brewery, and they got some pretty good breweries down here. But yeah, this beer is surprisingly pleasant. It's not overpowering with the grapefruit or the passion fruit. It's pretty well balanced. What do you think, Ken?
I would agree with your assessment. I think that the fruitiness of the beer is not overly stated. It goes down smooth, and the alcohol content is a little subdued. But it's especially with the summer, you don't want it to be heavy.
Right.
You want to be able to maintain activity.
You shouldn't be drinking a stout in the summer. That's like torture.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously. But speaking of which, so I'll tell a story about the thick mint, right? So a month ago, I bought this tall bottle of beer, thick mint, right? It was a mint flavored stout or porter. And it sat in my fridge forever because I'm like, it's fucking like 100 degrees with like 60% humidity. I'm not drinking this fucking beer. And then like a few days ago, I decided I'm gonna drink this beer. Now I looked at the label, it had like 10.5% alcohol. I was like, shit, yeah, I'm doing this, right? So I did not put together the name Thick Mint. So I poured the mug full of this beer and I went to drink it, and I'm like, wow, that tastes like a thin mint. I get it. Because it's thick and it tastes like a thin mint, so it's a thick mint. And it was great. It actually tastes like a thin mint, right? The bottle had on it like all the different pairings, the proper temperature to drink it at, and all these things. And I was like, this is a dessert beer, right? So if you stumble upon the thick mint beer, do not ever think you're going to drink this during the game, because it's not a game time beer. You would drink this after a nice meal with family, and when you're just going to chill and contemplate and just kind of relax, because it is a dessert beer. It's very sweet, very minty. It was like drinking a cookie. It was like drinking a box of Girl Scout cookies with booze in them. But I just wanted to tell that story because it was. I'm never going to buy it again. It's summer. Unless I see it during the wintertime, I'm not going to buy this beer again. But I felt like it was enough that if you do see it, go ahead and get yourself a bottle or two, stash them away for the winter. You'll appreciate it. Just don't think you're going to, like, in desperation, like, the game is on and you're worried. Resist. Do not open that beer during the game unless it's one of the winter games, in which case it should come out. Like Thanksgiving game, go ahead, drink one. Drink one for the Thanksgiving game, because holiday, you have a nice big meal. It's a dessert, but not, no.
Yeah, that's after the pie's out.
Yeah, get this summer rental if you're going to do some shit now, because it's too hot to be drinking that thick shit. Yeah, I have to turn the AC down like 3 degrees just to handle that shit, man.
Jeez.
So, all right, so the shitty hot take of the week, right? So this is Dirty's hot take. Dirty, shitty hot take of the week, right? The Lakers will make a play on LeBron James and Paul George in an attempt to push Golden State in the West, right? So what's going to happen is the East is going to be even more of a talent barren wasteland than it already is. So what this is going to cause is an arms race in the West, stacking the West and ensuring the West win the next 7 NBA titles.
Damn, that's shitty.
That's a super shitty take. Fucking fight me, right? So fucking fight me. So Ken,
my shitty hot take. This is baseball, and we have not covered baseball. The New York Yankees will not make the playoffs this year. And that is not based on my standing as a Red Sox fan. It's just that there's an insanely impossibly high level of production coming out of their rookies right now that cannot be maintained. Aaron Judge, a rookie, has 26 home runs before the All-Star break. You cannot maintain that in the second half. He will drop off. The rest of the Yankee lineup will go into a slump. The pitching will fall off a bit. They will finish above 500, but they will miss the playoffs. The Red Sox will win that division, and the Orioles will steal the wild card from them on the last weekend of the season.
You know, a few things make me happy, like watching Baltimore teams struggle with things because their fan base reacts so poorly. The Orioles are hard to hate, though. The Orioles are a hard team to hate. They seem pretty likable and real even killed. The fan base really does it for me. So,
well, I mean, the fact of the matter is that when I go to an Orioles-Red Sox game at Cannon Yards, 2/3 of the people there are Red Sox fans anyway. So the Orioles fans, they're very passive.
Actually, yeah, Baltimore sports fans, while obnoxious in their own way, aren't really violent.
No.
So it's been good with that. But so hey, look, Ken, it was great to have you in the house, in the studio, doing the show. Always a pleasure.
Always.
It's always good to have guests, right? I got 2 mics, and I like to have someone else on the other mic because it's always good to have the conversation. It's one thing to do it over Google Hangouts where you get the delay and the pixelization.
And then,
blah, 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 blah.
the pixelization was murder.
Yeah, but fuck it, it's free. So if you want to donate to the cause and help me get some real equipment and shit, feel free. I'll fucking tell you how to do it. And I got Patreon going on for me. But yeah, so as usual, look, if you guys, any listeners out there, got some disputes they want to air out, some hate mail they want to send your most passionate, poorly written hate mail.
It'll probably be directed at me.
Bring it. If it's from me or Ken from Connecticut, send it to dirtdiggler2823 at gmail.com. Go ahead, send it. We'll get it up on the show, and we'll cover it, and it'll be great, right? If you think my hot take was exceptionally shitty and you want to voice that, go for it. If you think Ken's hot take was either spot on or shitty, go ahead. Say something about it. Like, tell me. Hit us up on Facebook. Like, these are all things that we can do. We look forward to hearing from you. And as usual, you can catch me on SoundCloud, Mixcloud, and YouTube. I'm not really doing Stitcher too much because I think I didn't have a single listen from fucking Stitcher, and I'm just going to give that one up. But those top 3, look to see us out there, right? So I'm going to find a pretty cool picture of the Tom Brady dildo to use for the YouTube video because I believe that needs to be remembered forever.
Yeah.
So, Ken, you got any parting words for the audience?
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, Dirt. And remember, being a fan of a New England team is not a character flaw.
It should be, though.
It isn't.
But it should be. So, hey, look, it's been real, it's been fun, and it's been real fun. Dirt Diggler out.